Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work.
Welcome to Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Let's Talk is proudly presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. FrankWalkerLaw.com. Let the conversation begin on Let's Talk.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Lee with Let's Talk. And in studio with me today, solo, is Miss Lisa Otey. How are you?
I'm good. Hello, everybody.
And enjoy her voice today because she has a Packer shirt on. There is no way she'll be back anymore, for sure.
Now, come on. Everybody.
No.
Matt likes my shirt. He said he liked my shirt.
Did you say that, Matt?
Listen, my family's from Wisconsin.
Well, I don't have any power over you anyway, so I lose that one anyway.
I've got all the buttons here.
Yeah, you do.
I love it. Love it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have, I'm going to call this like a super special guest.
Absolutely.
And in a sport that I am not, and I'm going to tell this story make sure when he's online, but a sport that I just could not play. Just no chance I could play.
Seems to be the consensus with a lot of sports, but you keep going. You keep going. Introduce
All
our
right, well,
guest.
we have on the phone, we have Dusty Baker.
Ooh,
okay.
Wow.
Played in the major leagues 19 seasons. Okay.
Awesome.
19 seasons. Most notable for Los Angeles Dodgers. Two-time All-Star, Silver Slugger Award, Golden Glove Award, NLCS MVP.
Wow.
I mean, this is a notable, great player and individual. Dusty, how are you, man?
I'm doing fine. I'm listening to you guys. I'm trying. Are you in Pittsburgh Steelers territory? Is that where you are?
No. Unfortunately, a lot of people love Pittsburgh here or Cleveland. I grew up a Browns fan. But I dropped them as soon as I got to Minnesota. So
I hear you. Yeah, because I used to. L.C. Greenwood used to be a real good friend of mine, and some of the Steelers. And they used to tell me about the caravans between Cleveland and Pittsburgh.
Yes.
And I didn't know the rivalry, and I didn't even know that it was, the proximity, because I'm from California. I didn't know how close it was until I started going back east. So that's why I was curious about, which teams that you guys like the most.
Well, like I said, I was a huge Browns fan, and unfortunately, Lisa, and she wears Green Bay stuff to the show just to get on me because she knows that
I'm a cheesehead. I like to give him a hard time being a former Viking.
And you cannot be a Packer fan and be on this show.
So I get fired a lot, Dusty, but it's okay.
She's gonna get fired after this one today for sure.
Okay. But she's loyal to her team. I gotta give her something. She's loyal to her team.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I am.
Now, here's my story with baseball, okay? And then I want to get into your story. I had a buddy. His name was Jimmy Harper, and we were playing youth baseball. And this is how much I can remember this. A guy by the name of Jack Matheny was the pitcher, and he was a notable hard thrower. And he hit Jimmy Harper in the back.
Oh, Lord.
And he lifted his shirt up, and I saw the mark. Baseball went out the door for me. I was done.
Okay, were you afraid of the ball?
Totally petrified of it.
I understand that, but how were you afraid of the ball, but you're playing football?
I know.
Everybody asks that. I'm telling
Coach.
you, man, I could not. The ball is something that you can't control. Like, I can at least, if me and you coming together, we're going to make some kind of contact. But I don't get a chance that if the ball's coming at me, hitting me in the back, I ain't got a chance at that.
No. But see, I love football, too. I mean, that was my second love. I love basketball first, and then football. Baseball was like the fourth. I even like track better than baseball. But just I'm serious. Things just worked out where the Lord put me in a position, to be a professional baseball player because. See, I knew I was going to be a professional, from the time I was a kid. Only thing is, no one else knew it but me.
I know how that works.
But I didn't think that I was going to be a professional baseball player. I mean, if I'd have had to choose something, I'd have chose basketball because, like a lot of kids, basketball, man, it gets in your blood, and they talk about the basketball Jones. Well, I had it, and I could play basketball like any time of the year, and it almost cost me my career in baseball because I hurt my leg playing basketball in the off season.
Oh, they hate you know how that goes. They hate that when you come back and say you hurt your leg and you was doing something other than your sport, man, you're in trouble.
well, out here the kids, the rich kids. When I grew up, if you want to get in trouble, you get in trouble skiing or snowboarding. See, I did neither of one of those, but I love playing basketball. And the coaches, that's one of my few rules that I had, because the more rules you have as a manager, the more rules you have to enforce, or somebody has to enforce them. But one of my rules, and one of my main rules, is no off-the-field injuries because of what happened to me. So, hey, man, if you hurt yourself, you kind of, pretend that you didn't hurt yourself when you get back to the locker room.
I hear you. So I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna jump in right at trying to. Okay, so when you became a manager, what was your thought process about where you were going to go, what you thought you were going to do, and did you copy or duplicate somebody else's way to coach, or did you just actually just go in it your way and go full bore your way?
Well, a lot of people don't believe this, but that's the last thing I wanted to do was coach. And I was a stockbroker in the summer of '87, which the stock market crashed at that time. I was getting divorced. I was at a crossroads, and I really didn't know what to do. And the Giants, Al Rosen and the Giants came at me at the time because Al Campanis had said some derogatory racial remarks, and baseball was trying to, disprove those, remarks. And I was at the right place at the right time. Myself, Don Baylor, Cito Gaston, and Hal McRae. And so, baseball was looking for some qualified young, retired black players, and I was there. And I really didn't want to coach. I asked my dad, what should I do? Because I was at a crossroads, which is one of the crossroads that I talk about in my book, because at some point in time in your life, you really don't know what direction to go or what to do. And so Al Rosen came at me. He said, hey, we'd like you to be one of our coaches. And I told him that I give better orders than I take them. So he told me, he said, buddy boy, if if you're looking for a higher position, you're going to have to coach for 5 years, because that's how long it's going to take to get the player out of you. And 5 years and 1 day from the time he told me that was when I was named a manager. So, a lot of things in my life have been, kind of predestined, as long as I didn't screw them up and try to change the destiny, and just follow whatever path that the Lord had for me, to go.
Wow. So Coach, I'm going to ask you about the World Series in 2022. You were a manager with the Houston Astros, and you finally captured that elusive ring.
Mm-hmm. It was elusive.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was a good word to describe it.
That was a great word.
Can you tell us, what were the feelings like and the festivities that go along with that kind of achievement? What was that like for you?
Well, the festivities started like years before that, because we lost in 2002. And we had the lead. They came back and won the last two games against us. And in Game 6, I think we had like 4 or 5, run lead late in the game. They came back and beat us. And my dad had told me after we lost, he goes, son, I don't know if you'll ever win one because, that was tough. We thought we had that one. And so my motivation was really to disprove my dad because as much as my dad loved me back in that time, negative motivation was very prevalent in the generation before us. And, you can't use negative motivation now because the kids have just quit on you. But anyway, back in the day, negative motivation was very prevalent. And, my dad said, if you don't win, if you didn't win that one, you may never win one. And so my whole key and desire was to win one or to win two and try to prove my dad wrong because my dad was my biggest fan. So, what I thought about after we won that game, well, actually, we had lost in the World Series the year before that. And, we lost to the Braves, and that was the year Hank Aaron died. And so I figured that Hank wanted the Braves to win that year. but then the next year, it was my turn, and my mom had died that January, just like Hank did the January before that. And so I was like, Mom, come on now, this is my turn. And Hank, okay, the Braves, I know you like the Braves, and you like me too, but this is my turn. And, quite honestly, I just felt that this was going to be our turn. And really, I really felt like if I win one, I was going to win two. This is what I tell everybody. And we almost got to that second World Series and had a chance to win.
How many other black coaches were there during when you first started coaching?
Well, black managers
or managers,
probably,
basically, yeah, probably
one. I think Cito Gaston, and then here come Kim. I came, Don Baylor came, and Hal McRae came, and slowly but surely, after a while, and then here came Jerry Manuel, Davy Lopes. Let me see, Jerry Royster. But then most of the time, if you're a black manager, there was probably only no more than 3 to 4 max at a time. Most of the time it was 2, and most of the time when the black managers did get a job, that was most of the time their only job that they had a chance to manage. Which makes it tough.
Right.
And people ask me. I managed 5 teams, and they asked me how did that happen, and I really don't know because a couple teams I wasn't fired, but I wasn't offered a contract, so there's not much difference between the two. And like in Washington, we won 95 and 97 games, and I still wasn't offered a contract, so you really don't know what you have to do. To get offered a contract because there were some guys finishing last or next to last, and they were getting extensions on the contract. And I really should have been on 3 teams instead of 5, but I was very, very fortunate. And also, I think, quite frankly, the system, couldn't figure me out because it seems like if you remain mysterious and they can't figure you out, they'll keep you around till they figure you out, And so, like I said, God was on my side, and I was very fortunate to have managed as long as I did. But it did hurt sometime in between because there were a couple years, in probably 2 to 3 teams after that, I was off I was off 2 years. Each time without an offer, not even an offer, a sniff, or anything. So. But, everything worked out fine during that time because one year my dad died. Another year, my brother died. Another year, my daughter got married that I was off, and another year I took my son to Alaska where I always wanted to go. So, the moral of my story is I usually try to turn a negative into a positive.
And it sounds like you're really good at it too, Coach. I want to fast.
Well, you either be good at it or you just
or you just fake it till you make it. I mean, it's a little bit of both, right? So
Yeah.
Coach, I'd like to fast forward. Talking about your history. Being one of the first black managers in the Major League Baseball. Fast forward to 2026, you're widely expected to face the Hall of Fame era committee ballot this December, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So what would it mean to you personally to become the first black manager elected to the Hall of Fame in Major League Baseball?
I haven't really thought about it that much because no. I mean, sometimes you get tired of hearing a black manager. Why
Okay.
not just a manager? I mean, it's
Fair
a
enough.
tremendous honor, but they don't say an Italian manager or a German manager, and so I just wanted to go in as a manager, even though, like Stevie Wonder said, you can't cash in your face. Everybody know when I walk in a room that I'm black, and so let's get past that, and hopefully, in the future there will be more guys, that would get in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you look at Dave Roberts. This guy's won I think 3, and he's going for a three-peat. So he's probably the next as soon as he gets finished winning, because it look like the Dodgers ain't gonna never lose. And so,
Not now.
and so, I'm pulling for him, and I'm pulling for baseball to give others black coaches a chance to manage, because I'm not the last or the best necessarily, and neither is Dave. I mean, this could, should be a situation where other players, other coaches end up, being sought after, because we led the way and possibly led the example.
Great.
Question I've got. So, Dusty, your career as a manager was a span over 30 years. You started with the Giants in '93. You left the Astros in 2023. So you saw really kind of several different eras within baseball, going from kind of that sort of steroid era, as they called it, to what has become that post period since then. What over the course of the 30 years that you were a manager, how did you see the game evolve? What were some of the biggest changes that you saw?
Well, I mean, the game evolved from the time I was playing, because the era I came up in, everybody was drinking.
Oh.
That was a drinking era, and then there's always something, and I saw the money change. I saw some of the quality of the games change. The basic philosophy of the game has changed, where everybody now wants a strikeout or a homer. I've seen a game change to where, there were, quite a few minorities in the game, and then it just, dissipated, and now there's very few except for, some of the Latin Americans. And, the salary structure has definitely changed, because when I first came in the game, we were making, the minimum was $15,000. And I think now the minimum is like, close to $900,000. I mean, I know inflation has increased, but it hasn't increased that much.
That much,
No,
for
that's a
sure.
lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
And you see, TV, you see, gambling now, where before Pete Rose was exiled because of gambling.
Right.
And now it seems like it's okay as long as you're not gambling on your team, but as long as there's temptation, there's somebody is going to succumb to that temptation because it's there. And the game is alive and well. But I've been through every strike that there was. And my very first year was the first strike in 1972. And I've been in 76, 1981, 94. So, the toughest one was when I was in management and I consider myself middle management when you're between, upper management and between the players, and upper management is paying me, but the players are the reason why I'm getting paid, because I'm only as good as they are. And so, I've seen the game change, change tremendously. The rules have changed, like the speed up rules, the, throw to first base, the, put a runner on second base in extra innings. And so, the automatic strike zones. And so I've seen quite a few changes. Some of it's good, I think, and better, better for the game, but some of it is, made the game a little bit worse.
Mm. Can you give me one that you think is really not in your favor, that you just feel like is really a bad rule?
I think the throw to first or second, try to pick a guy off twice, and if you try the third time, it's automatic balk. Because, see, if they'd had that rule, they'd have never thrown Ricky Henderson out.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because that was the whole game, that you were trying to keep him close, pick him off. Like you step off, you have a quick step. There's all kind of, there's a game within the game to try to stop the running game. Right. And that's the one that I think has changed a lot.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, I was going to ask you about your newly released memoir titled Crossroads. It's a memoir in baseball and life. Tell us about how that came to fruition and what that journey looked like for you in writing that book.
Well, I mean, it was a journey of my life, really. Mm-hmm. And, I started, I'm 77 now, and I wrote the book at 75. And so I didn't want to write it while I was in the game, because then, it could have made it tough on myself and my son that's trying to play. And plus I don't like sequels. So I had to wait until I got, pretty close to the end. But you don't want to write it at the end, because you don't know if you're going to remember, what happened 80 years ago or at the same time. You want to write it before you pass away, because you don't want somebody else writing something about you that might not have been true.
True story.
And so that's why I decided to write it at that time. I think that some people might have needed to, they've been asking me, a lot of people, if I'd write it for a long time, but I just thought it was time, especially, with the unrest in our country and having been out here in the 60s, and this kind of reminds me of some of the worst times that I've experienced, because I was back in the peace and love in Vietnam and race riots and freedom marches. But this is like, I mean, the political flavor and, in our country, I've talked to some of the young people, and they're either doing great or they don't have much hope. Mm-hmm. And, that's one reason I was just trying to help some people, give some hope, and let them know that, hey, man, there's some people out there, no matter how successful we appear, have had the same problems in our lives that they've had. And if you just persevere and just live one more day, that might be the day that, your life turns around.
One of the interesting things that I'm getting, it keeps running through my head as you talk. I think there's still that reality for you that there was a racial issues taking place during that time, and you had to find a way to manage it, to work around it, ignore it, when to speak. And I don't really know if people understand the challenge that what that really means and how hard that has to be when you're sitting there and you're not going to say something because you already know what's going to happen, or you say something like that. Had to have been an awfully hard time for you to try to manage that, knowing you as a I'm gonna put myself in, me and you in the box together as a black athlete. We see it different. And we hear it different, and we can look at it and say, oh, yeah, okay, that's what that is. How do you how did you manage that throughout your career? Because I'm sure it was worse then than it is now, or even during my time. How did you manage to work your way through that and be great?
Well, sometimes you have no choice. And, sometimes you learn from your parents. Sometimes you learn through your own experiences. And, like you learn to be aware of your surroundings and aware and trust your feelings when you can tell if you're wanted or not wanted, to be in that situation, or know when to speak up and when to, defend yourself as a man, and when to say, okay, not this time, I'll wait till the next time. And, a lot of things that I learned, like I said, from my parents, I learned in the military, I learned from various artists that my parents used to listen to and that I listen to, just like in my office. And right now, I got Bob Marley on one shelf, and I got John Lee Hooker on the other shelf. Oh yeah, you know what I mean. And so it's like and plus you gotta pray on some things. There's some things you just got like, oh Lord, I don't know what to do, right now. And so, but the thing about it is, it's still here today, whether it's religious or whether it's racial or whatever, because people aren't getting along, and it's more subtle now in some ways, but in other ways it's more in your face. And the lines of separation are getting wider and wider, and I'll just urge those that have, to share with those that are, the have-nots, because if not, then, there are some people that might start taking what they need to feed their family, and so we need less violence and more love in this world and in our country.
Amen. I love that. Hey, so Coach, let's talk about at 76 years old, you said you're 77 now, but at 76, you traded the Major League Baseball grind for an international sprint with Team Nicaragua in the 2026 World Baseball Classic. What were some of the similarities and differences in coaching in those two environments, Coach?
Well, I'll tell you, it was a great experience. Number one, my guy who played for me, Marvin Bernard, he's from Bluefields, Nicaragua originally, even though he's raised in the States. And my good friend George Santiago, Puerto Rican George from New York, was the general manager. And so they said, hey, man, we need you in Nicaragua. And I had also studied, some Marcus Garvey, and he had gone to Nicaragua and some of the Caribbean, countries there. And I was curious about that because I had played ball in Venezuela, Mexico, and Puerto Rico. So I really love, Latin America and love the people there. The challenges were, we weren't as good as Dominican, because they're tops in the Caribbean, and then we weren't as good as the Cubans, we weren't as good as the Puerto Ricans. The Venezuelans are ahead of us, and so I try to catch us up in a short period of time. With my, baseball background, and they learned a lot, but it's tough in 3 weeks to make up that much ground. So, and I tried to really influence the young kids, because that's who's gonna, be the next generation of, Nicaraguans. Right. And, I had a great time. I'm going back down there in November. I'm not managing. I'm going to help coach and instruct for about 3 weeks because, we lost to Curacao. We were ahead 3-1. They had never won a game on that world stage like that. We were ahead 3-1 with with 2 outs. Guy hits a blooper to right field. Said, no problem. Next guy, it's a 3rd out. We'd have won the game. It hits the bag and bounces over his head. Next guy hits a home run, and we lost 4-3.
Oh no!
And I told my wife that No, I'm serious. I mean, I couldn't sleep for a week or 10 days. And I mean, even now, sometime that decision or that home run wakes me up, and it's like, I thought I had gotten over that or never had that bad feeling in my stomach and in your heart, because see, people don't know that the one problem that I had as a manager or a player is that the wins are never equal, to the losses. Mm-hmm. And if I could figure that out, I could go back and manage again. Because I'm
well, you know what's funny, Coach, that you said that, because I had that written down that was one of your famous statements, and I was going to ask you if you still take losses personally as you did, but it sounds like you do.
Yeah, I take them personally. Or my wife is like, "Honey, go to sleep because you can't bring it back." And I'm like, "How do you know?" You know what I mean?
There might be a chance I might be able to. But you know what? It's funny because I really do think that like a lot of athletes do hang on to specific losses, and you can't let it go. We lost the NFC Championship game, and and that was my only opportunity to have a chance to go to a Super Bowl, and to this day, that still is a haunting moment for me, and I've been out of the league forever, and still I can go back, I can look at the game, I can see it. I don't even need film. I can almost run it through my head. And
no, but see, the problem is you can let it go, but it won't let you go.
There you go. There you go. I'll take that.
That's right.
I'll take
like that.
I'll use it that way from now on.
Yeah, that's the truth. It's like, come on, man. I want to go to sleep, and I don't want to feel this pain,
And it's amazing though, because I really don't know if people understand the intensity of an athlete on the professional level in losing a game or not making a playoff or, any of those things. I don't know if they can understand, because they do say, you need to get over it. You need to get over it.
Oh, yeah.
But you're going through all the plays, all the mistakes you made. Sometimes you start talking about, well, such and such, if he'd have done that, man, we'd have been all right. You're likely to go any and everywhere before you can actually really walk away from it.
But you're always called back by that adrenaline rush that you get, because you can't simulate it on this radio show. You can't simulate in business, the feeling that you get when you win or when you lose. And I'm telling you, and that experience in WBC. See, I had played winter ball, like I told you, for 3 different countries, and there's no pressure. There's more pressure playing winter ball than there is playing here in the United States, because the people down there are passionate. You got drums, you got people cheering, you got dancing, and it is exciting, and nothing like Latin American baseball. You saw the WBC. It looked like a party, and
It did.
Yeah, and there was nobody fighting. That's the thing, and they were all just jeering at each other, and the countries, and then they would party for 2 or 3 hours afterwards in the parking lot out there. I'm like, man, this is fun, and it reminded me of the World Cup, Because that was awesome. As a fan, it was awesome. But imagine the adrenaline rush that they had as players.
I'm curious your opinion about something that's kind of a bit of a talking point right now in Major League Baseball, and potentially might even lead to a strike coming up after this season. Famously, the Mets in the whole Bobby Bonilla day, one famous player that left the Reds right around the time that you became manager there, Ken Griffey Jr., they had these deferred salaries. One of the big ones now, the Dodgers' Shohei Otani has deferred salary of I think $700 million. I'm curious about your opinion on that, and if you think that's negatively affecting the game, and if you think that's probably going to lead to a strike this year.
I don't know. I mean, they can blame it on leading to a strike, whether it's true or false.
Yeah, that's fair.
And you know, deferred salaries have been. I tried to get a deferred salary when I was playing, but the Dodgers wouldn't do it.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. I mean, there are some clubs that did it then, and some clubs that didn't. Now the Dodgers are going to give me a deferred salary, but no interest. So what good is that?
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, and you know, the American way though is to postpone debt into the future. Am I right?
Yeah,
true.
yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, and so like, what's the difference between deferred salary and the postponement of debt?
That's a really good point.
Yeah, and I don't know who's right or who's wrong. All I know is that, you know, nobody makes. I don't know if you ever had a boss that I said, "Hey, you give me this money or else." Okay, they'd have told you or else.
Yeah. That's a fact.
So
Yeah, exactly. Why don't you go in and try that tomorrow? See how far you get. You know. and plus, on the other hand, it's hard for me to believe because I'm in business, and unless you're in sales, who pays their employees more than if you're the boss and you pay yourself? You know, so no matter what they show publicly, you know, the salaries or how much the teams are making is never public, but the players' salaries are always public.
That's a really great perspective. I hadn't thought about it that way.
It's amazing to me. You know, we had a general manager that none of the and again, I hate to bring it back to this point, but he refused to pay black players. Like he just he would just refuse to pay them. And you could walk in and sit down, and he would just say some of the craziest things. He'd say, if you don't want to take this, go drive a bus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Get out of here! Right?
I'm like, are you kidding? Like, is that where you had me at?
No, but you know, it was similar. It was just more under the cover than that. I mean, you know, we always knew that, you know, a lot of white players sometimes would get paid easier than us, and there were like a couple of different tiers, you know, and a lot of times the Latin players were paid even less than us back in the day because they, you know, management figured that they needed less. You know what I mean?
Or they'd be happy, or they would be happy with it.
Oh my goodness!
Right. Well, but you know, or the dollar went further where they are. But you know, with the strikes came more equality of salary. You know, with the strikes came everybody's salaries are public now.
Yeah.
Where before they weren't public. So, you know, some of the good things that came out of, you know, former strikes was the fact that now you can't have discriminatory, you know, salary, you know, differences, you know, which is the way it should be.
Yeah. I totally agree with all of that, Coach. So I was going to ask you about the way you coached during your time in Major League Baseball. You famously managed generational talents like Barry Bonds. What was your
Ken Griffey Jr., Sammy Sosa? I had some bad boys.
I know you did. You did.
You know, Kenny Lofton. Ooh, Lord.
Absolutely.
You name them. I had, you know, Jeff Kent. I had some bad boys.
Yes, you did, Coach. So I was going to led to this question. What is your secret? Well, what was your secret to gaining the trust of those? You know, they were fiercely independent superstars you were dealing with there. So how did you gain?
You know, there was no secret really.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you know, I wasn't a superstar, but I was a star for a period of time. So, you know, I don't care about you being a star, and I really don't care about how much money you're making because, you know, I've been through a lot of that. Plus, at the same time, you know, like your superstars can bend the rules, but, you know, don't break the rules. And the key is not to have a whole bunch of rules.
Right.
And, you know, I just had a few rules. Don't lie to me. Show up to work on time. Give me all you got. While you're here, and don't be a distraction to anybody else. And
That's
so
fair.
yeah, and then so I believed in being firm but fair. I learned a lot from Al Addles, who I've known since I was 16 years old, a basketball player and coach, and I learned a lot, from my dad, who was a coach for years and years, and my high school coach was great, and I really learned a lot when I started managing and coaching from Bill Walsh, who took a liking to me when he was on the 49ers, and then when he went to Stanford, and I'd go over and have lunch at his house, and he gave me all his cue cards on how he started the 49ers, and he had a grease board, and we'd go over how to deal with the media, how to all kind of things that really helped put me on the right course, because I went to his he had like a I don't know if you call it a class, but he had like
Coaches Clinic?
A lot of coaches clinic with black coaches there trying to help him get a job. He had like Lovie Smith there.
Oh,
he
that's
had
huge.
Marvin Lewis there. He had Winningham had there. I mean, he had all of us there, and I was the only baseball player that was there.
Right.
And like you said, I learned a lot, from him, and then also, like I said, learned a lot from my dad on when to pick your battles, because you can walk around pissed off all the time if you let yourself, you know what I mean? But you gotta pick your battles. Okay, not now, boom, later, and then, above all, I didn't lie to the players, and don't lie to me now. Now there's a difference between not lying to them, but I can't tell you everything either. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep your job in order to to help them. So, like I said, I had some valuable teachers, and also, you had to remember how hard the game was to play, or is to play, and sometimes it was for you, and try not to. I remember when I first started coaching, Lou Brock told me, "Don't get greater in your mind than you really were."
I like that.
I like, what does that mean? He goes, don't forget that you made an error, that you struck out a couple times and lost a game. You might have won some games, but the longer you get away from playing, you forget about. You remember the losses, but you forget about the bad games that you had. You know what I mean? And you just remember the touchdowns and interceptions, but you don't remember getting burnt. You know what I'm saying? So,
Coach, are you hinting over here at me? Because I don't remember it. I don't remember getting beat at all.
Isn't that what they say?
Oh, don't worry. Sterling Sharp reminds him all the time of every little mistake he made. We've got him to thank for that.
Does he really?
Keep him grounded.
Okay.
If you'd had your way, would you have been a football player? Because you said baseball was like number 4 on your list for sports.
Yeah. Well, but you know something? I chose the right sport, or the right sport chose me, because I'd have been tiny Dusty Baker on the basketball court, and I'd have probably gotten, with my skinny legs and I had speed, coming across the line or across the middle, somebody would have broken me up.
Right.
So I probably wouldn't have played very long, but I loved it though. I would like to think that, I could have been a good football player, but I never really got my bell rung yet. You know what I mean? Just like when I was a kid, I wanted to be a boxer, and I used to box at the Y, and to this big boy. It was fun when I was doing all the punching, but as soon as this big boy hit me in the nose, I was like, I don't like this.
Yeah, the whole sport is gone.
Yeah, that was the end of that. Oh goodness!
You know what is interesting is like as I listen to you, and I'm processing in my own mind about my career and thinking about it, and I guess most athletes probably follow the same kind of path and thought processes as they go through. You get to a point where you kind of know how good you are. You get to a point where you start to think like, I might need to sit down here shortly. Sometimes you get caught up and think it's just you, but it's I think it's probably every athlete out there have to go through the same protocol to actually walk themselves out of the game.
Right. Well, sooner or later.
You know? And a lot of times it's, if you're thinking about it, it's probably in the moment.
True, because you know something, that's great that you said that, because I remember Reggie Smith, you know, whom we're honoring this weekend in L.A., you know, on the Walk of Fame, and he was the best player out of all of us on our great Dodger teams. And he told me, I remember one time, and it kind of, you know, bewildered me a little bit. He told me, don't think about the end, because if you're thinking about the end's already here.
That's 100% right.
And yeah, exactly. And he was right. You know, you start thinking about retiring, you might as well retire like now, you know?
I see. And and I was, my last season I played with the Saints, and I can remember just like, I wasn't enjoying it. And I was like thinking like, this is not, I don't need to do this. I need to give this up. And I ended up, I processed that halfway through the season and tried to play the last half of the season. Man, I could barely get through it. Like, I didn't want to come to practice. I didn't want to practice. I didn't want to do anything. And I I was just hoping and praying, can we get to the end of the season so I can go home? Because I'm done.
Well, see, that's what happens to, you know, a lot of guys at the end, you know, either you know, they get tired of playing, or sometimes they get tired of pain. You know what I mean? At the end, you get tired of waking up or going to bed and waking up with pain, or either you've made enough that you think you've made enough, which rarely is the case, that you lose some motivation. And if you lose motivation, then it's time to go home.
Yeah, you can't sit around and think about not that you don't really want to play, you don't really want to practice. When you're in that space, you truly, like you said, you truly have given the game up.
True.
You know,
and you know something, the sad part is that it happens. It seems like you played a long time, but it happens so quickly.
Wow.
Yeah, it does.
You know,
because it comes on. I think because it comes on, like you went to bed last night, got up, and then all of a sudden, midway through the day, it hits you. And now you got to take it to bed with you and wake up with it in the morning, and you can't let it go.
True.
It won't go away. So
no, it won't go away. And so I try to tell guys to maximize your career, because you don't want to be another give me another chance guy.
Right.
Because I've had a whole bunch of give me another chance guys, and there are very few that get another chance. So you got to maximize, you know, your days. You know, seize the moment, and try to make the most of it.
Coach, we appreciate you, man. I appreciate all the good information. I hope all the listeners will enjoy it, and we will get back in touch with you again, man. I appreciate you.
Good luck in December, Coach. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Hey, is West Virginia going to be good this year?
Well, you're talking to me. If you're asking me, I'm a Marshall guy. So,
okay.
So I'm thinking Marshall's going to be good, but I do think WV is going to be pretty good. The coach is pretty good.
I visited Marshall one time. I was on a Cincinnati Reds caravan, and we went to Marshall. It's green, right?
Yep.
Go Herd.
It's Randy Moss's team.
Yes, right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And what's his name? Jason Williams.
Jason Williams. Yeah.
Played basketball.
Yeah.
Yep.
Coach, I did.
And the reason I asked you was West Virginia going to be good? Because I got a friend named Sim who lined this interview up. Every time he talks to me, it's something about West Virginia. Every time he gives me a quiz, I'm like, "How do you know?" I was like, "Man, how I know you talking about West Virginia?" So
that is every WVU fan I've ever met.
That is true. They will not stop talking about their school.
I
That's for
love
sure.
it.
Oh, no. All right, man. Well,
good
good luck to y'all.
All right, thank you.
Thank
We
you
do
so
appreciate it.
much. Thank
All
you.
right, later.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get out of here, and we will see you again next week.